The thing here that stands out obviously is that there are no flowing red carpets and
Fancy
big
dresses. Even if you wanted to wear fancy clothes, you can't.
you
It's so
can't.
cold.
It's so cold. We really owe a lot to the festival at every stage. This is where I found out about the Academy nomination, which is literally today.
Today morning, the new ones have come out.
You feel almost like you've come on some kind of a cinephilic pilgrimage.
I'm at Sundance Film Festival and I've got hold of Shaunak Sen. Hi, Shaunak.
Hello.
Is this your second time back, or did you come back in between your film and now being jury as well?
Well, technically it's my third. We premiered last year, but because of the pandemic, it was virtual.
Yeah.
And I'd come last year, and actually, this is where I found out about the Academy nomination, which is literally today.
Today morning, the new ones have come out.
So I was here last year, and this year, so technically it's my third, but it's my second visit to Park City.
So let's go back to the start. What was your first time at Sundance, your first association with the festival?
Well, association is an entirely different thing from the festival itself, because obviously, for a young filmmaker, Sundance is such a haloed institution, and it feels like fairly out of the confines of your reach at first. So initially, I think what everybody sort of hoped, at least I at any rate was very expectant for, was trying to get the grant. The Sundance grant is one of the most respected and most fought after grant, and also one where if you've received it, and you can get it for different stages, right? Development or production or post-production. It's sort of like a stamp of approval for people, because it's gone through a rigorous process then.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that one always hoped for, and we were very fortunate to receive the development grant. So that's actually the first association, and they're a phenomenal source of support and encouragement, and of all kinds, creative and psychological and so on.
Yeah.
And after that, we of course applied, and I think if I was to pick one moment that was the biggest high point for the film, more than the Oscars, I think it was first getting the grant, and then after that getting the news that we were in the competition, in the world competition here. That was like a really big high for us, and of course the festival itself, which was really something, and pretty much like the film sort of had its springboard because of the festival. So
found
everything
its feet at Sundance.
exactly.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be overstating it or being hyperbolic if I said that we really owe a lot to the festival at every stage, at the grant stage, at the festival stage, and because of the award that we got. So it's really a monumental honor to be watching the films here as a juror.
So now young filmmakers and writers who want to break into this, who want to come to Sundance, it's all very confusing, and it sounds like, oh my goodness, how am I ever going to manage that? But you did, and other first-time filmmakers did as well. How does one do that?
Well, firstly, sorry, I feel like I've sort of anticipated the question and answered bits of it before this. So the thing is that one of the primary associations with young filmmakers is the Sundance documentary program grant, wherein for all young filmmakers, the main thing to know is that it's divided into 3 stages. When you've just begun the project and you want to put together a pitch, like a demo reel to show other funders or producers, etc., what you're looking for is a development grant. And Sundance is one of the most rigorous development grants out there. And what you do is you sort of put together a sizzle reel of whatever, 5-10 minutes, and we'd put together, I think, a 10-minute thing or something. And then it allows you to get some resource support to start making a proper longer sizzle reel. So that's the first sort of association. You apply for a grant if you need the money at that stage. And then of course the festival. The festival is not directly connected to the funding program, but it's for documentaries. I imagine it's the best festival in the world.
Yeah.
It's fairly unambiguous in terms of industry presence, the quality and rigor of the competition section here, and a festival that really gives a lot of committed respect to the non-fiction genre. And I've just finished watching the 10 films, and it's a really strong cohort of films. So yeah.
Okay, so we'll come to those 10 films that you watched, and I know you're not at liberty to talk about it much, but from being in competition, winning said competition, and then coming back to judge this competition, how is it that you're on the jury this year? Sundance reached out to you. When did that happen?
So yeah, it's absolutely,
It's wild.
Every now and then I feel a bit gobsmacked,
Yeah.
right? Absolutely. Also because, it's like so much has changed through the course of the last year, where every now and then it feels like it's not easy to, at least vis-a-vis these festivals, not reconcile what you thought about these festivals and how far they felt to, in a felt, fleshy, embodied way, inhabiting them now.
Yeah.
In terms of I think I got an email about 3 to 4 months ago, and in fact, I think more than a lot of the other festivals, Sundance has a really strong sense of an alum, you know. So I anyway feel indebted and a bit homely because of the association with the grant, with the festival, the award there, and now. So, and I was really excited. I mean, I had jet lag from hell really in the first few days, where it's like it's the other part of the world, and I was barely sleeping, and you wake up at 2 a.m. and your body thinks it's the day and so on.
Yeah.
But it's still definitely worth it because this festival has meant a lot for all of us in the All That Breathes team,
Yeah.
and as a cinephile, I enjoy it a lot.
So how many films did you say you've watched now in this competition?
10.
10 documentaries.
Yeah.
So what has that process been like, watching these films, sitting down with your jurors, as much as you can tell us, little
So
bit.
I can't actually speak at all about it because
Yeah.
I mean there's fairly well-defined protocols about it.
Yeah.
I can say that personally, what I personally enjoy about the process is that very often when you're just attending screenings, you sort of mentally either zone out or you're not bringing your most agile cinephile
Brain.
self. So to bring to bear your best sense of focus and really think about craft and the dramaturgical arcs and all of those things, and especially for a film nerd like me, has been really enjoyable. So the process has been very enjoyable, but the main thing is that for me to not to be told that one can't be lethargic about one's viewership hygiene
Yeah.
is something that I've realized that I really enjoy.
How does Sundance compare in comparison to the rest of the festivals that you've traveled all that breeze?
I'm obviously not going to knock on other festivals, but every festival has its own sort of USP.
Yeah.
This is utterly and entirely different from a variety of the other festivals like
Cannes,
Cannes
etc.
and so on. The thing here that stands out obviously is that there are no flowing red carpets and
Fancy
big
dresses. Even if you wanted to wear fancy clothes, you can't.
you
It's so
can't.
cold.
It's so cold, and it's also like this is it's not the black tie ethics of things, which I think has to also be valued. There's space for all kinds of festivals, not to take a knock on any of the other festivals, but the fact that this is seen almost, you feel almost like you've come on some kind of a cinephilic pilgrimage, where you have to come into this cold, fairly harsh frontier and
like it's literally snowing right now as we're standing and chatting.
Yeah. And it's also very really beautiful and all. So it feels like a very generative state of exception to come for this one slightly surreal week in this cold, in this altitude, with the snow drizzling in every now and then, and to try and sort of you're huddled in these giant coats, and then you walk into either the library or
and finding space for your coat along with your bag and yourself.
So actually it stands completely aside from most other festivals, and not just because it doesn't have that usual kind of show and pomp, but because it's a different you're wearing 5 layers and walking through the snow, trudging through the snow to watch film. So there's some value in it, and it feels different from other festivals. I see value in the other kinds also, but I'm very glad that the world of festivals is this kind of a rainbow coalition of all kinds, which is again, look, by saying all of this, I'm a bit worried that I'm eulogizing the idea of festivals. Of course, festivals have all kinds of exclusionary logics that one hopes will change. So with that as an obvious caveat, that obviously there are many things to consider and think of, but momentarily keeping that aside, it's also a space that we should treasure and remember that festivals today are a besieged space. It's not easy for any festival in the world, and a lot of what one associates with festivals that try and value artistic original voices are under attack. So we really have to, it's something to genuinely value and cherish.
Yeah, it's kind of been like a weirdly emotional experience coming to Sundance for the first time and seeing these 9 a.m. halls full of people.
Yeah.
People have walked through literal snow
Yeah, we should,
to watch movies.
you know, like the thing is, there's various positions. One can talk about how, you know, there are fancy festivals that are exclusionary and difficult to get into
Yeah.
and are not accessible, and a lot of that discourse is, I think, understandable and fair. But there is also one side, which is the fact that when else, like through the course of these festivals, of these screenings I've seen, every single screening has been chock-a-block full
Yeah,
at
like with
all
the
times.
100 people waiting line outside.
Through -7, through snow, trudging through snow, and
Yeah.
9 a.m. or 7 p.m. All of these screenings have been completely full,
Yeah.
irrespective of where the film is from. It could be a first-time director. So it's a really robust and vital film crowd, you know, and
Yeah.
there's something to be valued there, I think.
Lastly, do you have the time to catch anything else, and do you have anything that you want to watch here?
I want to. I actually think. I mean, I've had some recommendations, but
Yeah.
at the moment, given the current situation, I don't think it's proper for me to say.
Yes.
But yeah, I've had some recommendations, and I want to watch some fiction films.
I'll give
watched
you some
10
recommendations off the record.
Okay,
also.
I've watched some, like I've watched 10 non-fiction, so I feel like I've had a fair bit of the real world, and I can't wait for some fiction now.
I'll give you some recommendations. Thank you so much, Shaunak.
Thank you. Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.